Welcome to the second part of the reproductive system. So we're continuing looking at what the vagina is. So the vagina is a muscular passage leading from the cervix to the vulva, and it connects the internal sex organs with those on the outside of the body. And we've already discussed that it's during sexual activity, the blood vessels in the vaginal walls fill with the blood, causing them to swell. Now the function of the vagina is that it connects the cervix to the vulva, and this to the outside of the body. And it actually serves the passageway for menstrual blood, and it forms part of the birth canal during labour and is the site of penetration during intercourse. So let's move on looking at the vulva. The external organs of the female reproductive system are collectively known as the vulva. They include the mons pubis, the labia majora and minora, and the clitoris. So the mons pubis is a protective pad of fat over the symphysis pubis, which is covered in hair after puberty. Your labia majora is two large folds of fatty tissue which run lengthways either side of the vulva from the mons pubis to the perineum. They protect the entrance to the vagina and the urethra. You have your labia minora, which is two smaller folds of skin within the labia majora, and they surround the clitoris and form a hood to protect it. The clitoris then is a very small sensitive organ which contains your erectile tissue, just like the penis, and it's situated just below the mons pubis. During sexual activity, the erectile tissue fills with blood and they will swell. Let's now look at the breasts. Now these are an accessory organ to the reproductive system. Although they're not directly involved in the process of reproduction, they develop during pregnancy, ready for the function as milk-secreting glands. So the structure of the breasts are glands which sit on the front of the female chest. They obviously do occur, men also have breasts, but they are undeveloped. Their size varies considerably, and each breast is circular and convex with a central raised nipple. Breasts consist of adipose and areolar tissue, and it's supported by fascia. The tissue forms lobes and are subdivided into lobules. Now these open into several ducts. These ducts open on the surface of the nipple, and during pregnancy the lobules develop and produce milk. Hormones cause the breast to grow during pregnancy and then activate the secretion of milk during pregnancy, and their function is to secrete milk post-pregnancy. So now let's look at pregnancy. There are 6 main stages. The first stage is your fertilisation. So post-ovulation, the ovum enters the fallopian tube into the direction of the uterus. It reaches the centre of the tube in around 30 minutes. If sperm have been deposited in the vagina within 24 hours of ovulation, there's a 3-day window in which fertilisation may occur. Now there are several hundred sperm out of many million being deposited, and they will have swum through the uterus and into the fallopian tubes in the search of an ovum. Only one sperm needs to fertilise an ovum, and the sperm penetrates the ovum's membrane and enters the ovum. This is called fertilisation. Now the second stage is your post-fertilisation. The tail of the sperm breaks down and its head or nucleus grows. The nucleus of the sperm and the nucleus of the ovum fuse to make a single nucleus. Within this new nucleus, the male and female chromosomes join, forming a zygote. And this is the first cell of a new baby. Now, your cell division, once a zygote is formed, it undergoes a process of mitotic cell division, dividing into 2, then 4, then 8 cells, and so on until a ball of cells called a morula is formed. After 5 days, this develops into a blastocyst, which is a multi-celled structure, which enters the uterus and implants into the endometrium of the uterus on the 7th day. So we're moving on to the 4th stage then, and this is your formation of an embryo. By day 24, the blastocyst is formed into an amniotic cavity, so it's a fluid-filled sac, and this contains an embryo that looks a little like a seahorse. The endometrium and the part of the blastocyst mesh and develop into a placenta, which is the body's support system. This allows the passage of nutrients, oxygen and waste to and from the baby and mother. 5th stage is your development of the fetus. The embryo is known as the fetus from 8 weeks. It develops in the amniotic cavity, and the fluid protects the body from shocks and pressure and allows it to grow unhindered. And your final stage in pregnancy is the birth. So just before birth, the membrane of the amniotic cavity breaks and the amniotic fluid is released via the vagina. Childbirth usually occurs in the 40th week after fertilisation.